go. In the interest of time, normally, of course, I would ask you guys to give me some answers as we discuss each of these. But in the interest of time, I think you would rather have more time to actually look over this stuff before your test tomorrow. I'm just going to go through it. That's okay for everyone? Okay. That is standard position for that angle. 1 mark for that. Reference angle is right in there. It's 15 degrees. 1 mark for that. Cos theta is negative 2/3 in quadrant 2, which means it's out here. Since it's cos, the hypotenuse is 3, and this must be negative 2. How do you find the third side? It's the square root of hypotenuse squared minus that squared. Hypotenuse squared is 9. That squared is 4. 9 minus 4 is 5. Then you square root it. So this is root 5. The other two trig ratios, sine is root 5 over 3. And tan is root 5 over negative 2. And that's worth 2 marks because this is the only thing you needed to do. Everybody cool? Anybody need it explained? Once, twice, thrice? Okay. Without a calculator, find the values of theta if tan theta is positive. Where can tan be positive? There or there, yes? And tan is opposite over adjacent. So this must be root 3 and this must be 1. And this must be negative 1 and this must be negative root 3. If that's root 3 and that's 1, this must be 2 and this must be 2, making this a special triangle, right? Root 3 is bigger than 1, so this is my 60. This is my 60. So what are the values of theta? It can be 60, or it can be 60 past 180, which is 240. 2 marks. Anybody need that explained? Sweet. With the calculator, find the values of theta if sine theta is that. So you can use your calculator. How do you find theta? It's an angle, yeah? So I got to do shift sine. Shift sine of negative 4 divided by 5. Right? Which is, I don't actually know off the top of my head. Shift sine negative 0.8. So your calculator gives you negative 53 degrees. Right? Since sine is negative, it must be in these two quadrants, yes? Where does the 53 live? In there and in there, right? So what are they? 233 and 307 for 2 marks. Everybody still okay? Even on that one? Sweet. Given this, how many triangles exist? Well, A is the angle you should make that you know. B is 15. The other side is 12, right? So, first I should check my altitude, which I always call Q. Q equals 15 sine 50, which is, when you do that on your calculator, is 11.5. 12 is longer than 11.5, yes? But it's shorter than 15. So where can it go? It could go there or there. So how many triangles can I make? 2. Oops, I shouldn't have circled that. 2 triangles. I'm going to call that 2 marks, because you had to know a lot of stuff to do that. If I want 0 triangles, then how long is A? 10 would be cool. Or anything less than 11.5, right? 1 mark. Any number less than 11.5 gets you no triangles. 1 triangle, it could be 11.5. What else could it be? Pardon? Any number greater than 15. Because then you got to go way out to the side, right? That's worth 2 marks because you had 2 options there. Actually, I lie. No. I only asked for 1 triangle. Either of those answers correct, you would get the 1 mark. If you put them both, you give yourself a bonus mark. +1 bonus. Making that page out of, I don't know, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, but a possibility of 13 out of 12. Anybody get 13 out of 12? Felix and Sarah, 123 meters apart. Felix, Sarah, 123. Actually, I like to put my distances outside the triangle. From a point 88 meters away from Sarah, Jim stands. 88. From Jim's perspective, Felix and Sarah are separated by 114 degrees. Find the angle between the boys. Which is the angle between the boys? Right in here. That's the angle I need, yeah? What am I going to use, sine or cos law? Find, oh, yes, thank you. Find the angle between the boys, you idiot. From Sarah's perspective. Find the angle between the boys. Sorry. But still, am I going to use sine or cos law? Sine law. Why? Because you got the pair, right? Yeah. So 123 over sine 114 equals what are you going to do now? 88 over what? Sine, I don't know, right? And then once you know that, does that give you this? How? 180 minus 114 minus that. So this is going to be 88 sine 114 divided by 123. And then all that is shift signed. And then that answer gives me an answer. And then that, your angle is 180 minus the answer minus 114 to get your score. And the score, or the answer is, who has the answer so I don't have to punch it in? Huh? 25 degrees? Sounds right to me. Does anybody agree? Okay. What? Okay. Anything around 25, you did it right. We'll call that out a 3. Two ships sail away like the song from Enya. Anybody know that song? Anybody? Anybody? Sail away, sail away, sail away. Nobody? Okay, never mind. They go in different directions. The first ship sails 7 kilometers. Whoop, 7. The next ship sails 8 kilometers. Whoop, 8. The ships are now 13K apart. What's the angle between the ships? Right in here, yes? If that's the angle I want, then what corner is that? Big C. Because I got to use the cos law, right? So since it's the angle, cos C equals C squared minus B squared minus A squared over negative 2AB. And then you just fill it in. 13 squared minus 7 squared minus 8 squared over negative 2 times 7 times 8, which is what? I don't want to punch that in. Somebody have an answer for me? What?
It's 56 over negative
56 over 112, which, well, they both be negative. So that makes them both positive, which gives me a shift cos of what? 120 degrees? Does anybody corroborate that? Are we happy? Yeah? Now, here's the problem. The way I drew this, is it right? I did not draw an obtuse angle there, right? Does it matter? No, because what is that triangle there for? Just reference, right? Everybody cool? Somebody agreed? Somebody corroborates that? What? You got 60. All right, shift, cos. 13 squared minus 7 squared minus 8 squared, close brackets, divided by, open bracket, negative 2 times 7 times 8, close brackets, equals. I get 120. Hold up. Let me wait. $120 is out here, yeah? Just, no. 120 is out here, yeah? Right? Okay. So what's the reference angle? 180 minus 20, which is 60, right? Agreed? Okay. And you said it was 60 here, right? Okay, well, let's think about this for a sec. If it's 120, so it's one of these two triangles, right? 120, 7, 8, 13, right? Or it's this one with 60 there, right? And or Jazz Curate, it's 60 there, 7, 8, right? Agreed? Okay, now, if these two are almost the same, right? And this is 60. If these two are almost the same, that would make this an isosceles triangle, wouldn't it? And if these two are almost the same, these two have to be pretty close to each other, don't they? Right? So if these two are pretty close to each other, it would be 180 minus 60, which would be 120, then divided by 2, correct? So these guys would have to be pretty close to 60 as well, wouldn't they? And if all three angles are the same, that means all three sides are the same, doesn't it? So this side would have to be around between 7 and 8, wouldn't it? But it's not. It's 13, right? So it has to be the bigger triangle. Are you with me? So, for example, if you did all that on the test and you showed me 60 degrees, then I would have to give you like 2 out of 3. Everybody cool with that? Everybody sees what's going on there? That's weird that your calculator said 60, though. Okay, direction question. These are hard for you guys. Kids have trouble with these, okay? Alex leaves home and runs west for 2.5 kilometers. So I'm going to call home there, and he's going to run west for 2.5. Is everybody cool with that? Right? Everyone agrees? Then he turns clockwise. So if I'm facing west, clockwise, is that a right or a left turn? Right. And it says I'm going to turn 150 degrees. So at this point, I'm turning. So this is where I start counting. And I'm turning 150, yes? So I'm going this way 150 degrees. Agreed? Everybody cool? Yes. And then I'm running, wait till my computer thaws. So I turned the 150. Now I'm running back this way. If this side's 150, what's this? 30. And he runs 2K, and then he runs straight home. How far must Alex run to get home? This is what I don't know. So what letter should I give it? Lil C. And then I solve from there. That makes this guy big C. Right? So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. Right? Then I just punch it all in. And what do we get for an answer? Nobody did this one because directions are hard. 2 squared plus 2.5 squared minus 2 times 2 times 2.5 times cos 30. So that's 4 plus 6.25 is 10.25 minus 2 times 2 is 4 times 2.5 is 10 minus 10 cos 30. Anybody get an answer for me? 0.47. Let's check. Anybody corroborate 0.47? Yeah, but I watched you for that whole example going like this.
No, but I still did it right in some weird way. I just don't know how it worked out.
Let's check. 2 squared plus 2.5 squared minus 2 times 2.5 times cos 30. 1.59 and then square root 1.26. Square root of 1.59 because it's C squared, 1.26. Call that out of 3 as well. And then just some triangle work. 25, 20. Q is 20 sine 25, which is 8.45. A is longer than 8.45, yes? Yes? So it will make a triangle, but it's shorter than 20, so how many triangles will it make? 2 triangles. These are 1 mark each, because you only had to do one thing. What's this guy? 89, 14. So 14 sine 89 equals 13.997. The other side is 14.
Please excuse the interruption.
Oh, sorry, 16.
All grade 9 who have not been down to the cafeteria.
16 is bigger than 14, yes?
That's all grade 9
right?
who have not been down to the cafeteria.
So it's going to make a triangle because it's bigger than Q, and it's bigger than that. So it can't go this side, it's got to go out here. 1 triangle. Angle A is 110, which is weird, right? Across from angle A is 12. Yeah? Right? So I would need to check an altitude there. Barf. That doesn't work very well, does it? So what could I do instead? I could use a reference angle, right? And what would the reference angle be? 70. So how many triangles are possible? And according to me right now, this would have to be 14 and this would have to be 12, yes? Well, how can that side be longer than that side? 110 has to be the biggest angle, doesn't it? And that side's 12. Everybody with me? So how many triangles? None. And number 4. A is 30. A is 30, B is 12. 12 sine 30 equals 6. A is 6, so how many triangles? 1. One right angle triangle for 1 mark. And that's everything. Making that that page 1, 2, 3, 4. And 6 is 10, and 3 is 13, and 12 is 25 with a possibility of 1 bonus point. So it's out of 25. You can tell me your score tomorrow. Yep. Now, it's only 10 o'clock. You're here for 56 more minutes. There is not, today's finance stuff isn't very difficult, and I'm going to give you a small assignment to do with it that you can do tomorrow after you finish your trig test. Okay? So if you all could turn to page 193, that would be good. And it should say compound interest. Does it? Okay. So you guys can read that again. I'm not going to explain. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to highlight a couple of things. Principal is always the same in simple interest because you get the interest paid to you every year. Okay? Or every time you take it out. You with me? You never get back that original $1,000. The bank keeps that to loan out to people. Everybody cool? But if you leave all of your interest in the bank, now the bank has that interest to loan out, doesn't it? So it can do more business with your interest. So since it's making money on you, it's going to pay you interest again. So your principal goes up. Is everybody with me? Now, let's watch how it works. We are going to start with an easy number to work with. We're going to start with $1,000. So in simple interest, there's my principal. I've told you we're doing 8% interest. So what goes in the interest category? 8 or something else? 0.08, because we need a percentage, 0.08. So I like to remind myself that this has to be a decimal. Right? Everybody with me? And after 1 year, because my T is always in years, it's going to be times 1, right? So what's 8% of 1,000? $80. So my new principal becomes what? 1,080. Everybody agree? Now in simple interest, at the end of that year, the bank is going to give you a check for $80. Okay, thanks. All you did was deposit $1,000 in their account. They're giving you $80 free. Everybody understand? Now, since they don't have access to that $80 anymore because they've given it back to you, how much do they have the next year for a principal? They still have what? They still have that original 1,000, right? So what's your interest going to be? It's still going to be 0.8. So what's your new principal going to be? It's going to be 1080 plus 80, right? Because in simple interest, oops. Okay, now, what I've done here is shown you what is really happening, right? Like, I'm keeping the original 1,000 in there, and I'm doing this on purpose. In the scenario I gave you, they gave you back your $80, right? But in reality, we earned $80 more, right? Like, we started on January 1st with 1,000. The next January 1st, we had 1080. They gave us back the 80, but I still have $1,080. Everybody cool? That's why this is 1160. Everybody all right? Now, the interest as a decimal was 0.8. As a dollar value, it was $80. Right? So what do you know is going to happen all the way down now? It's going to be add $80 each time. So we're going to keep the 0.8. It's going to be 80, 80, and 80. So over 5 years, how much interest did I earn? I earned $80 a year for 5 years. So how much was it? $400. And how much do I have at the end of it all? $1,400. Is everybody cool with that? Yeah? Okay. So this is going to be, we'd add 80 each time. 1240, 1320, 1400. Everybody's cool with simple interest? PRT, we're all good? All right. Now let's look what happens if my interest earns interest. Because the bank keeps it. I don't get it back. So the principal still starts at $1,000. I put $1,000 in the bank, right? And I multiply that by my interest rate, which is 0.08, and that gets me $80. Cool? Which means now, at the end of that first year, the bank has $1,080 of my money. Everyone okay with that? They don't give it back to me. So my principal is now what? 1,080. Do I still get 8% on that? Yep. So I do that times 0.08. And what does that get me? You got to do that with your calculator. I don't have mine. Well, I do, but I want to write. $86.40, which means over here I've got $1166.40. Everybody cool? So now where does that number go? That becomes my new principal, $1166.40. And then I get 8% of that, which is, and now I am going to do the work. I get $93.31. Which takes me up to $1259.71. You guys finish that table. And then add up your interest and tell me what your new principal is. So what does this tell us? Starting with $1,000, which isn't very much, over the course of 5 years, I earned $70 extra. Did I have to do anything to earn it? No. I had to go to the bank machine, put in the $1,000 check Grandma gave me for Christmas. My grandma never gave me $1,000. But some people, I've heard from them that their grandparents give them tons of money. My grandparents did not give me any money. Everybody cool? Compound interest pays better. Everybody understand? And that is why often when you owe money to people, they do compound interest. When they have your money, like a bank account, it's often simple interest. Picking up what I'm putting down? All right. So, now you guys are smart kids, right? There was a formula for simple interest. I equals PRT, yeah? So, let's see if there's a formula for compound interest. In the first year, it was the exact same, wasn't it? Right? Right? We had a principal, 1,000. This is year 1. 1,000, and we multiplied it by 0.08. We multiplied it by 1, correct? Everybody with me? All right. Now, that gave me 1080, right? Right? Okay. So, now, notice that the 80 was my interest, right? And notice that I kept my original 1,000 right there, yes? So really what I did was I took my principal of 1,000 and I multiplied it by 1.08. Does everybody see that? Because the 1,000 times 1 covers the 1,000, and the 1,000 times 0.8 covers the interest. Is everybody with me? Okay. And then what did I do the next time? I took this number, because that's my new principal, isn't it? And what did I do with that? What did I multiply it by? What did I multiply it to get this 8640? Multiplied it by 0.08 again, right? But I had to keep that original 1080. So really I multiplied it by 1.08 again, didn't I? Is everybody with me? Everybody's good? Yes? And then I took this whole thing, and what did I multiply it by? 1.08 again. Right? What are you noticing is repeating over and over and over? The 1.08. Is there a shortcut in math to writing times 1.08 times 1.08 times 1.08? To the power of whatever, right? So, what is happening here? I really have my principal, and I am multiplying it by what? 1. Now, in this case, it was 0.08. But what would I really be multiplying it by? What if it was 9% or 12%? What do we call that decimal that we multiply by? I equals PRT. What's the decimal? Rate. So it's really 1 plus the rate, isn't it? Right? And then what goes up in my exponent? I equals PRT. What's the only thing left? T. Right? So it's principal times 1 plus R to the T. And what do we have to remember about T? It's in years. Everybody cool? So you tell me I have $10,000 at 3.75% for, you guys are 15? You're going to work till you're 65 for 50 years. Tell me how much money you're going to have left, because I got to pee. money are you going to have if Grandma leaves you with $10,000 tomorrow? It's 10,000 times what? 1.0375 to what power? How much money are you going to have left? Or how much money are you going to have?
63,000.
Oops. Forgot the brackets. Everybody understand? Now, you guys are smart kids. You've heard about saving for your retirement and such, right?
Oh, 10,000.
Yeah. So if I were to put $10,000 in the bank, well, not in the bank, in an investment or in an account that paid me that insurance rate or interest rate, at the end of 50 years, I'd have 63 grand. Now, what if I put 10,000 a year into it every year? How much money would you have when you were old? Yeah, lots. When should you start saving for being old? Soon as you can. When did I start saving for being old? Still haven't. Am I old? Getting close. I better do some work. Yeah? I have some money. I'm not stupid. I have some. But that's why I'm going to move to Ecuador, where a little bit of money goes a long way. Yeah. Some places give you pensions, but not all. We get a decent pension, but that pension, the pension has to have money in it, right? Like, if tons of teachers retire tomorrow, they would all start cashing in their pensions. And then that would deplete the fund. You understand what I'm saying? And that makes us younger guys, have to work longer so we can top up the pension enough so we can get it. And then sometimes your company goes out of business, like Sears, the store. One of the problems that may happen is you may have worked there for 28 years and saved up a pension. It may be gone. Yeah. So, you got to be careful. All right, is everybody cool with that? Everybody is cool with basic compound interest, yes? All right, turn the page over. It's the last new thing we're going to do today. Sometimes they will pay you your interest more than once a year. Okay? If they compound annually, then you will be paid once a year. How many times will you be paid if you are compounding semi-annually? What does semi mean? What's a semicircle? Half a circle. So what's semi-annual? Half a year. So how many payments in a year? 2. What if it's quarterly? 4. What if it's monthly? 12. What if it's weekly? 52. What if it's daily? 365. So we have to adjust our formula, don't we? Now we know our formula is principal times 1 plus. Now here's where we got to change things up. The rate is always per year, isn't it? But if they're going to pay me twice a year, then that rate is going to be divided by what? 2. What if they're going to pay me 4 times a year? It's going to be divided by 4. What if they're going to pay me 12 times a year? Divided by 12. So it's going to be rate divided by something, yes? We use the letter N, and N equals the compounding periods. or how many times a year they're going to pay you out. Okay? So my pen is frozen. It's the compounding period, which is how many, not how may, you idiot, how many periods per year. Okay? Everybody with me? And in the last one we did, we always multiplied it by time, right? Because you got paid once a year, yeah? But if it's semi-annually, how many times am I getting paid? Twice a year. So it's 1 year, but I'm getting paid twice in that year, aren't I? So what has to go up here? The N. Everybody with me? So we're going to do the same $1,000. We're still going to do 8%. But we're going to do 5 years, and we're going to do each option. Now we've already done it with once a year, haven't we? That was the chart we just filled out, yeah? So let's punch. We know that our total was going to be 1469. What was it? What was in that chart? 1469.33, right? So now let's see if we can make our calculators do this. What's my principal? What did I start with? 1,000. 1 plus, what was my R? 0.08, because it's got to be a decimal, over how many times am I going to get paid out in a year? 1. For how many years is this happening? 5 years times how many times per year? Once. See if you can punch that into your calculator and get that answer. Some of you will be able to do it all in one step. Some of you will need to take a second step. But punch in your calculator and see if you can get 1469.33. I'll call up my calculator that looks like yours, and we'll do it. 1,000 bracket 1 plus 0.08 divided by 1, close brackets, exponent 5 times 1. Everybody see? 1469.33. Is everybody good? Okay. Now, what is going to change semi-annually? Does the principal change? No, still 1,000. Still 1. Still 0.08. But now it's not once a year. How many times is it? Twice a year, which means it's 5 years, but I'm getting it twice a year, so that is to the exponent 10 now. Punch that in and see what you get. Now, if you don't have one of our calculators like this, you can still do this in one step, especially if your calculator writes it out like this. But if you have one of those really old-fashioned calculators that doesn't, or you're using the calculator that came with your phone, it's hard to do. Then you got to go step by step. I do the brackets first, then exponents, then times 1,000 if I'm doing it step by step. So what do you get for an answer? $1,400? Yep. 1,480.24. Now, do we need to go all the way down? You can if you want, but what's going to change? Instead of 2, it's going to be divided by what? 4, and it's going to be to what exponent? 5 times 4. Right? This one's going to be divided by 12, and it's going to be to what exponent? 5 times 12. This one's going to be divided by 52, and it's going to be to 5 times 52. This is going to be divided by 365, and it's 5 times 365. Now, just for fun to show you, I actually have done these. This one's 1485.75. This one's 1489.85. This one's 1491.37. And this one is 1491.76. Please notice, the more times you pay out, the more money you're going to have. The more compounding periods there are, the more money you're going to have. That's what we're trying to get to. Is everybody cool? All right? We're going to do this page, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we'll see. We'll see how far we get. Yo. It just depends. Later on, we'll be talking about this, but for example, on a credit card, if you borrow cash, like if you go to a bank machine and take out a cash advance, you start paying interest the first day you took that cash out. So it just shows up sometimes. Credit cards are actually very complicated because the interest rates are by the year, but you don't pay any interest if you pay it off every month. But if you leave even 1 penny, you pay interest on everything you bought that month. We're doing a whole section on credit cards, don't worry. So that's why you got to know all of them, because every one of them shows up all over the place. Luke. 26. Yep. Because that's the newest thing with loans right now. Car payments, right? You guys see the commercials. $129 bi-weekly because a lot of paychecks are now every 2 weeks, right? And they can say their payments are lower. $300 a month sounds worse than $150 bi-weekly, right? But if you do the math, $150 bi-weekly is actually more money than $300 a month. So you're actually spending more on the car. All right, everybody cool with this? Will I make you memorize the formula? No, of course not. You'll always get them. But there is something I'd like to remind you. I equals PRT, simple interest. When you do the math, you only get the interest. So to find out your total, you have to do principal plus interest. Everybody cool? In compound, this is simple. In compound, you get your total, which equals principal times 1 plus r over n to the Tn. You get your total. So if you want your interest, you have to do total minus principal. One of them will give you the interest, the other one gives you your total. Everybody cool? So let's start with an easy one. Chris invested $6,500 for 5 years, compounded semi-annually, and got that much interest. What was the rate? So what do I know? Do I know Chris's principal? What is it? $6,500. Do I know his rate? No. There's my R. Do I know his time? How many years did he have it in the investment? 5 years. And do I know his N? How many times did he get his interest every year? Semi-annually, so how many? Twice. So I know the formula is A equals amount equals P times 1 plus R over N to the Tn, yes? Do I know his final amount? What is it? That plus that, right? So I know that it's 88, 47, 62 plus 500 is 93, 47, 62. I know his principal. 1 plus r I don't know. That's 2. And t times n is 10, right? Can I solve this? Do you guys have the algebra to solve that? How do I get rid of this times 6,500? I'm going to divide both sides by that, yes? So do that. What's 9347.62 divided by 6,500? What's that give me? $1.44 equals 1 plus r over 2 all to the 10th power. Right? Everybody cool? Now, how would I solve 1 plus r to the second power, or r over 2 to the second power equaled 1.44? What would I do to get rid of the square? I would do a square root, yes? So what do you think I do to get rid of a 10th power? I do a 10th root. Do you know that in your head? Of course not. So you've got to use your calculator to solve this. If you don't know how to do extra roots on your calculator, it's something we got to learn, yeah? But you all know how to find a cube root. It's the same thing. Instead of 3 root, we're looking for the 10th root. So all you got to do is do the 10th root of 144. 1.44 will equal 1 plus r over 2. So you got to figure that out on your calculator. Now on my calculator, I have it right here in math. There is my x root, right? The 5th. So all I got to do, I want the 10th root, then I go math, 5, the 10th root of what? 1.44. And I get 1.04. So now 1.04 equals 1 plus r over 2. Subtract the 1, multiply by 2, and I get my answer. Right? Subtract the 1, 0.04 equals r over 2. Multiply both sides by 2. 0.08 equals r. So what's my percentage? 8%. Is everybody cool? That's about the hardest thing we're going to do today. So let me make sure. Yes. Okay? Now, listen to me. Is this pre-calculus 11 or is this calculator 11? It's pre-calculus 11. So what do I care more about? That you understand the setup or that you can actually punch it into your machine? I want the setup. So let's set these up, and then I'll shut up, and you can either do trig or find these answers. Everybody with me? 8,000 investment, 7 years, compounded quarterly rate. Principal, time, n, rate. So I just do the formula, don't I? A equals principal, 8,000. 1 plus, what's my rate? 0.092 over what for quarterly? 4 to what power? 7 times 4, which is 28, right? Then you would fill that out. Everybody cool? Or you'd punch that into your calculator, I mean. Everybody good? Okay, what's the next one going to be? She wants to have $20,000 for your college tuition. When you were in grade 3, she invested in a fund that paid 6.8 semi-annually. How much did she need? So what do I know? I know I need 20,000. I know my rate is 0.068. I know my time. How many years? Grade 3. How old are you in grade 3? Well, forget how old you are. How many years of school do you have after grade 3? You got grade 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? You're going to go 10 more years of school if she did at the beginning of grade 3, which she did. So what's my time? 10 years. And what's my N? Semi-annually is 2. What's missing? Principal. I don't know how much she needs to start with. So I fill out my formula. My final amount is 20,000. P 1 plus 0.068 over 2 to what power? 2 times 10, which is 20. And then you would solve that algebraically. I can leave you with that, right? Okay, what's the next one? What am I looking for? An amount, a principal, a rate, or a time? I'm looking for the amount. So I know my principal, 4,000. 1 plus my rate, 0.072. Compounded monthly, divided by 12. 12 to the 12 times 4. Everybody cool? Do those 3 now to make sure you're good with your calculator. And then if you are, yeah, go. So who has an answer for me for 5? How much money am I going to have? Nobody? Burke. And that's exactly what I have. Who has, how much money did Mom need to put away for me? $10,247.53. That's exactly what I have. What's my $4,000 going to be worth? 5,330, 44. Everybody cool? Yo. What? Yep. So, again, I got 20,000 equals P 1 plus 0.6068 over 2 to the 20th, yes? So, I need P by itself, right? So if I do 1 plus 0.068 divided by 2 to the 20th, I'm going to get P times some number, aren't I? Whatever that number is. It is 1 plus 0.068 divided by 2, y to the x, 20, is 1.95 to the 20,000, yeah? Right? How do I get P by itself? Just divide. Just algebra. Everybody cool? All right. Now listen to me. Number 8, some of you will be able to solve it. The vast majority of you will not be able to do number 8. So just set it up. Okay? We're just going to set it up because Thursday I'm going to talk about how to do number 8. And then on Thursday, guys, I'm going to show you how to use these calculators to do this. And we're going to do a couple of questions about car loans, savings, mortgages, and credit cards over Thursday and Friday. Just a couple of questions, just so you've seen it. Okay? Because when I left high school, nobody had taught me any of this stuff. And it took me like 20 years to get it sorted out. Because I screwed up when I left school. And I didn't know how this stuff really worked. I would like to have done this whole unit with you, but that's on me and a little on you guys. We took a long time with a couple of units. Okay? So, let's... Tomorrow, you can't do number 8, but you can set it up. Yeah, so by the end of class tomorrow, you guys should have 195 done. You can do all of 196. And on 195 and 196. That's what I want you to do by the end of tomorrow. We're going to skip that. I'm going to show you that. Yeah. No, actually, I don't. I used to have scissors, and they kept getting stolen.